In this video, I'm going to explore another method of entering and processing deeds. I start with a blank drawing, and then up under the Survey pull-down menu, I execute the command Process Deed File. When I do that, it prompts me to create an external deed file. I'm going to call it Deeds, and it adds the extension PDD. I open that. I am now presented with another dialog box where I can add deed files. I'm able to add as many deed files as I want in this one external file. So I begin by hitting Add and name the deed file. I'm just going to call this Deed 1. There is a beginning point of the deed, so I can create coordinates here. I'm going to start at 5,000, the northing of 5,000. In this dialog box, which I'm going to stretch out so I can see more of it, the default is to have the distance, then the bearing, curve information, and the type, which is going to be either a line or a curve. The first thing I'm going to do is modify the order of what is displayed here. I prefer to have the angle first and the distance second, so I select angle, hit move up, and OK, and now you can see that I'm going to enter this in terms of bearing followed by distance. So to begin with, I will add my first deed element. I'm going to add a line. As you can see, I have a choice, line or arc. And my first bearing is 25 degrees, 35 minutes, for a distance of 200.51 feet. And in the display box below, the first element of the deed is drawn. I have an optional description that I can add to this. I'm going to skip that for now and just hit Enter, and it prompts for the next deed element, which in this case is another northeast bearing, 89 degrees. And by using either my Tab or Enter keys on the keyboard, I can easily jump to the next field and enter in 43 minutes and 21 seconds for a distance of 225 feet. Again, Enter. The next element is a curve or an arc. Enter an arc, and instead of entering chord bearing, what I'd like to do is make a tangential curve with an arc length of 118.17 feet, a radius length of 75 feet, and you can see the arc direction can either be left or right. So this is going to the right. You can see the display switch to the right. That's the only curve information I'm going to give it, and I'm going to move on to the next one. In this case, it's a line, and it is a due south bearing, so I'm going to leave that at southeast 0, 0, 0 for a distance of 178 feet, and Enter. The next line is the northwest bearing, 88 degrees, 23 minutes, for a distance of 300.34 feet. The next line is again northwest, angle is 54, 11:09, for a distance of 106.93 feet. And you can see in the display below that the deed has closed out at the point of beginning. So I am going to hit OK. To report this deed and check the reclosure, I can highlight Deed and hit Report. Check the precision that I would like to see in the report and hit OK. And I get a report that I can print, save as an external ASCII file, or actually print it to the screen and have it printed on the side of the plat. And you can see in here I've got the closure error distance, a little over 1/100th of a foot, the bearing, and the closure precision 1 in 66,000. So I exit out of that. To bring this into my drawing, I highlight Deed and hit Draw. I can select a layer name. In this case, I'm using a template that I have created for my drawings. I'm going to put the deed information on a layer called boundary. You pay attention to your line and curve label settings. They're at the default in your general label settings. Both of these settings control the layers, the font size of the text, and the display of the annotations, such as bearing over distance or distance over bearing. So I have some of these preset. I'm going to select one, my boundary annotations, and my general label settings. I have one called General Annotations. This ensures that the bearings and distance get labeled on the proper layers. I hit OK. And the program draws all the deed elements and annotates all the courses contained within it. The deed file can now be accessed at any time to make modifications, create reports, or redraw any of the deeds.